Usasz, filling in for Jeff for his hard-earned holiday after his first month of work. Here to ask some hard-hitting questions to Glen Delaney ahead of our upcoming match against Doncaster this Saturday. Here with Duncan Taylor from Nelsons Law Firm. Duncan, what's your association with the club this year?
This year we've stepped up to being a shirt sponsor with the club. That's a step forward from a long association that we've had with the club going back to 1998, acting on behalf of the club, which has been a real pleasure to do. It's a pleasure for me personally as an ex-player up at Chesterfield, and there are a number of Chesterfield players who've had a long association with Nottingham, Martin Northard, Richard Bygrave, Ian Kench, who's now come through. As a firm, we've enjoyed our association with Nottingham. It's not to say it's always been the most economically fruitful for us, but I hope it's been economically fruitful for the club, and it's a real pleasure to be able to support a brand that we think is going somewhere in the local community.
Right, here with Director of Rugby, former CEO, some say Jackie Moon of Nottingham Rugby, Glen Delaney. Glenn, good game on Friday against Usasz, 5 points, three tries to hat-trick hero Jack Cobblebear Cobden. Pretty happy with the win?
Yeah, thanks very much for the intro, Tim. It's usually Jeff that does this, and it's a bit different today, I'm sure, but we'll hopefully keep it moving. But no, we're pretty happy after Friday. I think we played some pretty good stuff. Certainly our defence was a lot better than it had been previously, and we're disappointed at the end to leak a try, but if you give a team enough possession in that area of the park, that's possibly what's going to happen. So we'll work hard again on that, but I think our attack was pretty good, and at the moment we're sort of averaging 34 points a game on attack. So as long as we keep doing that, then I think we've got a good chance of winning games. 20
points to the boot again of James Arledge. The boys have been saying the way he's kicking, you'd hate to be his dog. How important is he to the team this weekend?
Well, it's pretty vital. With you've got a bloke who can give you 20 points almost a game. It gives you a nice cushion. And the reality with James is he's a class performer, and he did miss one by 6 inches last week, which we've obviously spoken quite heavily about, and we'll put a development program together for him. But I think all jokes aside, he's been outstanding so far this season.
And going to Doncaster this weekend, last time we played Donny, it was like going to a fight and a game of rugby broke out. How do you think they're going to be this weekend? Very similar to they've been in the past, or a little bit different?
No, I'm not expecting them to be the side they were last year. They had some very abrasive characters, and a lot of those guys have moved on. From what we've seen, they're playing a lot of really good open football. They've got an electric wing named Matt Williams who can run them in from anywhere. Sort of reminds me of Josh Kay of years of old here. A good midfield partnership, and a 10 in Tristan Roberts that can control a game. So they're a very different side, and certainly playing in a very different way. And the one threat for me that we'll always watch is Chris Brears at 13, who is a very gifted, agile runner. So they're scoring a lot of points. They should have beaten Worcester last week away, which is a big marker. So we're going to go up there as underdogs, and that's the reality of the situation. They've beaten Bristol away. They very nearly beat Worcester away, and their home form is pretty good. So it's going to be a tough challenge.
And just before we name the team, Glenn, a couple of guys in the team supporting the mullet haircut. A few of the Green Army want to know when you're starting that?
Yeah, I've already started, and I'm pretty committed to it. And I think as we lead up towards Movember, there'll be a lot of sort of follicle issues going on in the department. But certainly the hair off that we're having at the moment is pretty impressive. And David Jackson for me he's where the smart money's at on that one. So we'll see how the season unfolds, and I think if you can combine the mullet with the Movember concept, I think it's going to be something to see.
All business at the front, party at the back. Glenn, could you name the team for this weekend?
Yeah, team for this weekend, a couple of changes, a few injuries. So up front, Tom French will start at loosehead with Declan Farrell at hooker and Nick Adams at tight head. In the engine room, Callum Green and Dan Hemingway will continue. Back row unchanged from last week, Craig Hammond, Sione Kalamafoni and Tom Arms. In the 9 slot, Finley Barnum continues where he left off last week. James Arledge at 10. Midfield, slight changes there. Jack Cobden and Tim Strether will team up to give Jono a bit of a break, and Fozzie similarly. And on the wings, Andrew Savage on the right returns to that slot, David Jackson on the left, and Caesar at the back.
Oh, thanks, Glenn. Always tough to know that you didn't make the team when you're announcing it, so thanks very much for that and letting me know beforehand. Glen Delaney, everybody. Look forward to the game on Saturday. Cheers, Glenn.